This conference will now be recorded.
Hi all, a very good morning. I hope you guys are able to hear me and view my screen.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can view your screen.
Oh, great. How about you, Khalil, Arun? Are you guys able to see my screen and hear me?
Yes, Pawan.
Okay, great.
Yes, I can see.
Okay. In the part of today's session, we are going to have a quick outline of AWS course, what we are going to go through in the part of our next upcoming 35 sessions. And also we are going to learn how to create a free account in the AWS, which will help us understand how we can navigate through and how we use it. Right. So first, quickly going back to the slides where we left yesterday. So today in AWS, if we see, there are lots of different services in terms of storage, in terms of analytics, in terms of messaging, in terms of database, the kind of things that anyone can expect to be in the digital world. Everything is almost available in this world from the AWS, right? And to say it has around almost 3000 plus services and the features overall. So now, how do we connect to this AWS Cloud Console? It's very simple. All you need is only a mobile client or a laptop in order to connect to AWS. But on top of it, we require internet. As we understand, it's a wireless technology that we are going to go with usage. We would require internet to connect to our AWS console. So all we need to do is just go to a browser and type aws.amazon.com, and this will help you to land into a AWS account, right? So now we'll quickly learn through first how do we log in into our AWS account or create a new one. So in case if you're very new to AWS console, maybe let's say for me it is showing sign in to console because I've already logged in before. So I would maybe open it up in the incognito window. Just give me a minute. Right. So when you have opened this particular link for very first time, you should be able to see something like create an AWS account. In case if you're not able to see something like this, you can just type in the Google, create a free Amazon AWS account, and you should be able to get it. Okay, so here, now as we see through, the very first thing that you will see is it says AWS accounts include 12 months of free tier access. As I just told you, you are going to get access for almost 12 months for entirely free. And we should be able to use it without any problems. And most of the services are free and we should be able to experiment with it. But maybe one or two services could be part of those where we will be including a little cost. But trust me, overall labs and everything, whatever we do, it might not even cross $5 to $10 as well. And even if we are able to, just a sec, the only idea is to ensure that whatever resources we create, we should be destroying them once our work is done. With that particular idea, we'll not even be crossing $5 as well, right? So overall, we can actually go ahead and make use of this account to the best practice and learn a lot of different things. So let's go ahead and create one AWS account. So here, the first thing it will ask you is about your email address. So maybe just put in some of your email address and just put some Gmail ID for now. And it'll ask you the kind of password you want to put, but it'll show you the minimum terms and conditions that you must have with your password. That is, it should have alphabets. It should also include the uppercase, lowercase, one non-alphanumeric symbol, right? So all of those should be part of it. So let me go ahead and keep on. Then it'll ask you the name of your AWS account. What is the short name or a nickname that you want to give to your AWS account? Maybe I would give it as AWS Training 2020, right? And then the next page comes up where it will ask you what kind of account would you like to create, whether it's a professional account or a personal account. Surely this is not a professional account which we are going to make use of. It's only for our personal purpose. So I'll go ahead and click on personal and it will ask me the phone number, right? So here ensure that you give your correct mobile number because you're going to receive a call from the Amazon in one of the next upcoming steps where they're going to verify that you are a genuine person or not. So here on the top, you can see an orange color progress bar. This is like a step two. The step one was filling up the information on your email ID, and now we're in the step two. It will keep progressing ahead. And in one of the upcoming steps, on this particular phone number, we will receive a call from Amazon and we have to enter a 4-digit PIN that will appear on our screen. And now, in order to receive the call, the phone number has to be a correct one. So for now, I'll just give one of the numbers and just say we are in India. And next, let's go and put some address. Right, so I'll just put across some of the details. And next, it will ask you to agree to the terms and conditions of AISPL. AISPL is basically Amazon Internet Services Private Limited, right? So we can go ahead and check this box and then say I agree to it. Now comes the major important part, that is about the payment information. This is where a lot of people get feared. If I enter my credit card or debit card details, what will happen? Will they charge on my account? If there is any charges, no, they'll not charge up anything as such, right? So you can actually go ahead and fill in your information without any problems. You can use a credit card or a debit card, any of those numbers, right? So in India, you can actually make use of debit card number, which has much more security in terms of any transactions without OTP or anything as such, as per the RBI guidelines, are restricted. You can use a debit card number and just go ahead and fill in the details. Next, it will ask you, do you have a PAN? Now, since we are using it for our complete personal purpose, I don't want to disclose my PAN card. I can say, okay, I don't want to do it and say no. And when you say no and click verify and add, the next important step that will happen here is about going to payment gateway and verifying your credit card or debit card number. So there will be a small transaction of 2 rupees. So if you see here, it clearly says as a part of our verification process, we will charge 2 rupees on your card, and when you click on secure submit below. So if I click on this verify and add, it will actually go ahead and charge 2 rupees. But this will be refunded once it is validated. This is just to ensure that your card is genuine or not. That's it. It's not going to charge your card or anything as such in the future for any of these purposes of billing. But it's just that to verify if you are a genuine or not, it will actually use this card. So from here, I might not go further to the next step, but I'll let you know what happens next. So once you verify your debit card or credit card, and 2 rupees charge is being initiated. The next will be a 4-digit PIN that will appear on your screen. As I just said, we have to enter the correct mobile number. You will receive a call from Amazon and you have to enter a 4-digit PIN. So there will be a 4-digit PIN on the screen. Maybe let's say 1234, and on the phone via IVR response, you will have to enter that 4-digit PIN that is appearing on your screen. And once you enter that, the last step would be to select a support plan. So AWS has different kinds of support plans. Let me show you that. Okay, so here as we see through, these are the 4 different types of support plans they have. So this is the last step it asks you with, whether you want to go with a basic plan, whether you want to go with a developer plan or a business or an enterprise plan. Now, surely we'll have to see through the cost associated with each of it. So if you go for basic, it is already included as a part of free tier. But if you go for any of the other plans, you have to pay the money, right? So here you can see it usually asks you for $299 or $599 or 1 lakh, right? So depending upon you might not see the dollar symbol here because it's in a different VPN at this point. So you might be seeing a different symbol where I'm not sure what symbol is this belongs to. So I think it's in CN, that is China. So it should be around yuan. So maybe I'll just give it a try. Yeah, I think the page is not loading up. Anyway, but this is something which is important. So we have different plans like basic, developer, business, and enterprise. So ensure that we are selecting a basic plan itself and you're not selecting anything else, because the basic plan is the one which is part of our AWS free tier, right? So this way we will be successfully able to create an account. Remember what all steps did we do? First step was where we entered our email ID and we set up the password. Second step was where we said that it's going to be a personal account and we filled in our address details and the mobile number. And the third step was about agreeing to the conditions and then putting our card details. And the fourth step will be about verifying through phone call. And the final step would be about the support plan, which is going to be basic in our case. And once it is done, within 24 hours, your account will be activated. They say 24 hours, but sometimes it gets activated in 2 to 3 hours as well. Depends upon the kind of credit card or debit card we are using. If it is internationally accepted, usually it gets activated within few minutes, right? So that's one small thing to be taken care of. So maximum is 24 hours, it gets activated. And once the account is activated, we should be able to log in into our AWS account and play around with it. So let me go ahead and log in into my AWS account. So if you let me go back to click on this link again to show you what all services we actually get as a part of free tier. Okay, let me log in into my account first. Okay, so you can see on my account, I have set up a two-factor authentication, which means even after first password, it will ask me for a second password. Let me enter that. Just give me a minute. It's taking a while for my MFA. Yeah, so there we go. You should be able to see this screen once the MFA gets authenticated. This is the home page that we actually get with, right? So on the left hand side corner, as we see here on the top, you will be able to see the AWS symbol, this one. And then we have the list of services being mentioned here. So you should be able to see all the services that AWS provides today. And you can click create your favorites. You can just drag and drop and put it as your favorite service here, right? So you can just go ahead and make your services favorite, which you use a lot. And on the top here, there's a bell symbol, which means basically there are notifications in terms of any open issues, in terms of any schedule changes, in terms of any other notifications. Basically, this bell icon would actually help you to see through all of those. So if there's any notification that Amazon wants to send you, which is important, you will get here, you'll get it through here. And next here, you should be able to see the account. Remember, we created an account with the name AWS Training 2020. That is what the nickname is being showcased here. And if I just open up this menu bar, you can see I'll be able to see my account, and this is my account number 481 48513048753 And then in case if you are in working in a specific company, you will have multiple AWS accounts, and that is basically a part of organization, and we call it as my organization. So here this doesn't matter for us because it's a personal account and it's a single AWS account. And then my service quotas. Usually what happens is when we actually take a account with a free tier in AWS, there is a service quota, which means even if my account gets compromised, someone cannot use it for a full time. Like he cannot create more than 5 VMs or 10 VMs or 15 VMs. So there are some service limits which AWS has applied on a free tier account. Now, if you really want to increase those service limits over the period of time, you can always do it with just one single click on talking with customer care, and immediately it is done. But as a part of safety and security measure, what they have done is they have given a limit. So if you want to see what are your service limits, you can always open up this in the new tab, and it will actually show you the service limits for your particular this one. Right, so you can see here, since I'm been using for some time, now it says I can create 65 virtual machines for a while. Right, I can create up to 24 databases. So as and when you keep using it, automatically the limits keep increasing. But in case if you really want to go ahead and increase it, you can always go through this service request cards. You can actually create a service from here itself. So whichever service you want to increase the limits, you can just go ahead and submit a request, and that request will start appearing here. Right, so this is basically a dashboard of how much service quota you actually have at this point of time for the entire set of services on the AWS. That is service quota. And when I click on my billing dashboard, it will actually show you the billing part of your AWS account. Let me open it up. Right, so you can see through here. It is basically saying that there is a, currently a bill of $1, right? $1.18 of bill is already existing on my AWS account, and if I continue to use it in the same way, it might go up to $8.79. This is what is a current forecast, right? So this is a forecast saying that currently I have been using up to $1.18 and it can go up to this particular level. And if you really want to see which services are contributing to the cost, here it will show you. The Route 53 is the one which is actually contributing to a cost of $1, and then the tax is 0.18. So overall it becomes $1.18. So this is the bifurcation of the cost that is being showcased overall. Right, so this is a billing dashboard. We will look in detail each and every part of this in a little while. And then the security credentials. So if you really want to change the password of your AWS account, you can click on security credentials and you will be able to do so without any problem. So here you can see I get an option to change the password of my AWS account. So with whatever login we have used, email ID and password, you can actually go ahead and make a change to your password by clicking on this security credential that is about the password. And if you really want to set up a multi-factor authentication, you just need to open this up, and here I already have it, so it just asks me to manage it. If you do not have, it will ask you to add one, right? So that's way I'll show you how we add it in the part of our upcoming series of lectures. And then if you want to log out, this is the one button. Apart from that, these are the set of regions we are going to talk about in a little while. And then the support. At any point of time you feel you have some problem with your AWS account and you want to contact a support center, you just need to click on this support center. And here you can actually go ahead and create a support case, right? So once you create a support case, they'll ask you what kind of issue would you like to raise it across, whether it is a billing and support issue, or whether it's a service limit increase, or whether it's a technical support. So as a part of our plan, we'll not be able to use this. Remember, clearly it says technical support is unavailable under the basic support plan. However, we can use other two. So if you think there's a problem with your billing, there's a problem with your account, you have some things to look for, you can actually go ahead and raise a support case. And with support case, you have the options like whether you want to use a web method, mail, or a chat, right? So maybe for basic case, it's only a web method. But if you are in an enterprise plan, or if you are on a developer plan or anything else, you also get different options like call and the chat method, like the way we get in Amazon e-commerce website. You also get the other two options here. That's about the support. So at any point of time you feel you are facing any problems, you can actually come and raise a support case. And remember, we are in a support plan that is a basic, which is included as part of free tier. If you take any other plan, you will be basically charged across. So if I click on change here, so here you can see the developer plan basically starts at $29 per month. The business plan is at 100, and if I go for enterprise plan, it is at $15,000 per month. Right? Surely they are going to be very much costlier, which is not required for us. So for now, we'll use the basic plan. And if you require any expert help, so you can get it as well. So the expert help is basically a new feature that was added to the AWS sometime back, which is also known as AWS IQ. So if you think you have good knowledge in AWS and you want to be part of freelancer and make some money, so here you can actually register yourself, and then you will be able to register yourself as a AWS certified freelancer, right? So you can see here the pricing. So based on the amount of work we do, we'll be getting paid, right? So you can actually go out and bid it across how much people want to pay for it, and you can do it. Right? So for now, we don't require this expert help. Forums. Forums is basically a place where people keep interacting, right? So if they have any issue which you think is very common, might be others would have faced, you can actually go to forums, and you can also post your issue, or you can also answer anyone's issue if you already know how to resolve it, in terms of general feedback, in terms of deployments, in terms, let's say you are doing a Java development, you can see there are around 236,215 queries that people have put up. Sorry, this is the number of views. These are the threads. So there are around 2,325 threads, different problems that people have faced, and they have put across JavaScript development, .NET development, and PHP development. So in case if you feel, you can directly go ahead and put across your query in the AWS forum as well. Right? It will help you to get some feedback. And then there's a documentation. So if you want to learn about some service in a lot more detail, right? This is a documentation which you already have in here. And documentation is always kept updated. So if there's any new feature that is coming in, you should be able to see that update in the documentation as well, how to use it. So the documentation is available for each and every service in terms of categorization of services. So if I go back to my AWS console, if I click on services, you can see services are based on compute, based on storage, based on database, migration, networking, and other things. Similarly, the documentation is also based on similar lines. Compute, in the compute, we have these all services: Outpost, parallel cluster, serverless application, wavelength, how do we use it, what to do, right? Everything is being put across. For each and every service, there's a documentation which is available. And apart from that, if you want to look for some small tutorials and projects, they are available, which are 5 minutes or 10 minutes of things you can also do. And moreover, if you are a developer and if you want to integrate your development kit with AWS, you may want to use any of this. Right? So AWS supports almost all the major languages like C, like AWS command line, JavaScript, Python, PHP, .NET, Ruby, Java, Go, Node.js, C++, Android, and the iOS. So these are one. And general resources, it's basically talking about uh, how do you get started with AWS, and in case if you require some guidance, how do you get through. White papers are basically the place where we actually have the terms and conditions of the AWS, right? So if it talks about security, so in terms of physical security, what is the AWS terms and conditions, right? They are going to provide a security guard which is going to be 24/7, whether they can access our servers or not. So all those kind of details will be majorly available in the technical white papers. So you also have certifications. So if you want to click on this, it will help you to take you through certifications. If you go with AWS Solutions and Architecture Center, basically it will help you with some of the solutions which are already provided to the clients by AWS. In the Architecture Center, you should be able to see some readily available architectures or the solutions. Right? So all of those general resources are available here. And if I go to the training, so this is a training by AWS company itself. So basically it might be a lot costlier, and it will be like a 3 day or 5 day training with 40 to 50 hours of the work. And finally, getting started with the resource center. If I click on this, so it basically tells me about how I can actually get started with the AWS fundamentals. What do I actually get started with, and the other things, right? So if I am a developer, where should I go? If I am this one, what should I do? Right, so there are all different things: full stack developer, front end developer, builder, and you can see here the learning paths. So what do you want to become eventually, right? So it will basically take you. So maybe let's say if I say I want to become a DevOps engineer. So here it shows you what should you be learning as a DevOps engineer. First, learning about how to setting up a version control system, how you deploy a web application, and how you actually create a pipelines. Right. So again, for that, they have given some blog posts, some developer tools, what all to explore, and other things. So there are some learning paths and just a quick overview. Just a minute. So going back to our AWS console, so these are the ones we may not be going to support a lot. Maximum that we would require will be a support center where we can actually go ahead and raise a support case, which can actually help us with any of the problems. But yes, surely this gives us a upper hand to help us understand what is expert help, what is forums, what is documentation, training, and the other things. Right? If at any point of time, if you think you are lost on your AWS console, you want to go back to a home page, just click on this AWS symbol and it will take you back to your home page. Right? This is my home page and I'll be residing here. From here, you can go back to any service. So if you say, I want to go to virtual machines, you want to go to storage, or you want to go to a database, or you want to go to any of the different services. Right? So there are immense number of services which are available within AWS. You can go to any one of them. Maybe let's say I want to go to virtual machines. I'll go here. Right? So this is how it appears that this is my AWS console. And here I have my virtual machines. So if I want to go to virtual machines, I can click on instances. So here in AWS, we call a virtual machine as an instance. So currently I do not have anything as such. So here I should be able to see once I have any of the virtual machines. So let's go back to the home screen again. So any questions, queries or doubts until here from any one of you? Any questions? Joshna, Radha, Harun?
No questions, Pawan.
Okay,
Yeah, no questions.
thanks. That was about a quick overview about the AWS console, but few important things to be taken care is about the billing. Let me take you through the billing dashboard, which is one of the most important parts that we are going to look at in a little more detail. So when we go to billing dashboard, first thing is it quickly shows me up what is the current charges for this month. So do not look at this. This is just a forecast. It says if I'm going to use it at the same pace, then in the end of this month, I'm going to get this. But it's just a forecast, but I'm not using it in that way. So you can see here $1.18 is currently month to date. And this is what my bill says at about, right? And if I go, yeah. So on the next left hand side, if you see, there are a lot of options which are available. Now, if you just want to go ahead and make changes to this one, so you can just see Cost Explorer. So Cost Explorer will actually show you how much you're spending on specific service in a month. So currently, if I want to launch a cost split, we should go from here. This will basically give you a quick overview in terms of if you have a lot of AWS accounts, you can actually link all of them here, and you should be able to see all of the billings from one single place. And if you want to see for which service you're paying a lot, since this is a single AWS account, it shouldn't matter for us with a cost explorer. But if it is multiple AWS account, this particular features help a lot. Then you can actually set up a budget. So you can say that I want to create a budget, say, and once that particular budget limit is reached, you get a notification on your email saying that, okay, so and so part of it is AWS account has reached so much budget. Let's say if I keep a budget of $100 and if I'm trying to use my services and if my AWS account hits a limit of $100, I immediately get a notification saying that so and so budget, what you have configured has been reached across. Budget reports. Since I have not set up any budget, so here I'll not be able to see any budget reports. So budget reports basically talk about whatever budgets we have configured, whether those reports were exactly working or not. Savings plan. So you can actually enroll for a savings plan with the AWS. Again, this is not required for our normal AWS free tier account because here in this case we are just going to make use of the free tier, right? And in case if you're really looking for AWS account to be part of your professional journey, like when we work for big companies, there we may want to enroll into this savings plan, which means where we are saying that I'm going to use AWS account for minimum 1 year or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. And based on that, I'll be actually getting a 50 to 60% discount overall. You can see here, it clearly says consistent amount of usage for 1 to 3 year terms, right? So in that case, we might require it, but for now we don't require. And then the cost and usage reports. So you can create a report and see how much you're actually spending every month on your own this part, how much you're spending, what you're trying to do on your AWS account. Cost categories, you can set up your categories as well. So you can group some set of resources saying that all this are part of one project, right? So you can say this particular VM, this particular storage, this particular database is part of project A, this particular VM or this particular networking component is part of project B, and you can actually create a cost category. And a cost category can be created on the basis of this cost allocation tags, right? So we will talk about how cost allocation tags are defined when we start learning about the AWS resources. And if you want to see all your bills, you should be able to see it here. So every month on month bill will be displayed here. June, July, August, whatever month you want to see it for, all the bills are being displayed here. So for my current month, it is $1.18. So on the similar lines, if I go to November, it says it is around $1.27. And you can see here why it is $1.27. So it says in Elastic Compute. So in Asia Pacific Mumbai, I have a snapshot which is actually costing me around $0.08, right? So $1 plus 0.08 and $0.19 of tax, overall it comes to $1.27. Similarly, you should be able to see the bill for each and every month. Orders and invoices will show you the or whatever order and the invoices you have for all the previous months, right? And if I talk about the credits, so in case if you're attending any of the AWS event, sometimes you get a credit, right? So those credits can be applied here. So like if you're trying to attend a AWS reInvent, which is happening at this point of time, you should be able to get some credits out of that and you can apply it here so that you can use the services for free. If you want to spin up a bigger machine, it will actually help you with the help of this credits. Purchase orders, if you have already purchased something for a longer duration, right, it will show it here when it is going to expire from when it is being effective. And then the billing preferences. So how would you like to receive a bill? Maybe via email or to some other specific email. You can put all your things here. And then the payment methods basically talk about your credit card, debit card, whichever you have added, it will actually show you here. And remember, as I said, credit card will not be charged. And if you want to charge a credit card automatically, so then you have to enable this recurring payments method. See, I have disabled the recurring payment method, and there's a reason it doesn't charge onto my account without any permission of me. And then the consolidated billing. Consolidated billing is again required if you have multiple AWS accounts so that you can see the billing in one single AWS account overall. And again, tax settings, it's not required for us because currently we are trying to use this AWS account only for our personal purposes. So that was all about the billing dashboard. So it gives a quick overview about the bills and the services and the bifurcation of each and every service of what has been charged on your AWS account. So that was a overview about the AWS accounts. Any questions, queries, or doubts from any one of you on understanding how to create your free tier account and look through or loop through any of these links?
Yeah, but that it's not confusing, but like this is something like more of an account setting and more of like how we are going to use the particular account, right? Like something like an account usage kind of stuff, correct?
Correct.
So like maybe like when you actually go with the concepts, right? That's when I think we can suppose like you do something on the services front, and that's when I think we will get to see like in the management console like how the billing goes up, or that's when I think we can understand more of the dashboards.
Yeah, but at initial
Yeah.
level, because I do see that problem, because when I started my journey and when I was going through, not many people
Uh-huh.
actually take through the console, right? So people get confused
Right.
which service, where to go, if some problem happens,
I
where do I
see.
see
I
my
see.
billing,
Practical
or where
problems.
do, yeah,
Okay.
where do I go to support center immediately, right? Let's say we didn't do it wantedly, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe while we were experimenting with or playing with the AWS. And let's say it did happen with me as well. I was just
I
experimenting
see.
and suddenly I purchased a plan of 200 or $250 and I didn't
I
know
see.
where to actually check it. Does it really reflect in the billing, or how do I
I see.
contact a support, and how much time does it really take to get back?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So if you
Yeah.
know about that at the initial level, then yeah, we'll not be in that haste decision, right? Saying that okay, I did something wrong, I I
Mm-hmm.
have to do. So I know where I need to go. But the first thing
Okay.
will be we'll check in the billing. So okay, does it reflect in the billing or not? And then we go to support and say that okay, so and so charge was applied due to some mistake. So maybe you want to revert it back. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about it in those cases.
Yeah.
And surely, as you said, we learn a lot about it as we do practical part of it. That will be a greater level of experience. But at the initial level, to get started with account, because a lot of people what they do when I actually teach them on the first day of how to create an account, they actually go ahead and create a storage account as well after that, storage or a virtual machine, just to check how it is running, whether it looks good, I'm able to spin it up or not, right? So maybe yes, we'll do that in a excitement of learning, but it should not land up say getting you on a different charge.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, coming back to our slides. So these are different set of services. As we saw in AWS, we have lots of services. Some of them are not covered on this page yet. Like as we saw, there's a compute, there's a storage, there's database, security, analytics, application services, a lot of things. But on all top of it, the major important thing that we need to first understand is about the global infrastructure. So if we understand the global infrastructure, then understanding any other service would be much more easier. The global infrastructure is nothing but how AWS has been set up actually, right? And as a part of this course journey, we will be actually going through these six major components: global infrastructure, networking, compute, storage, database, security, and identity. We'll also be touch basing a little bit on management and governance, where we'll see how to get the logs, where we can see them, and other things, right? But these are the six core services which we basically work with. So talking about the global infrastructure. Now today AWS has got 19 regions, right? 16 of them are public, three of them are private. When I say private, it is not accessible by anyone. It is accessible only to specific set of people like US government or US defense or even the China region, right? So China region is available only to Chinese people or the Chinese companies. So only they can use that particular AWS accounts. We will not be able to log in into China AWS. So if you want to see where I'm able to see these regions on my AWS account, here you can see all the different regions, right? I have North Virginia, Ohio, North California, Oregon. These are all part of US. In Africa, I have it in Cape Town. If I scroll the page down, you should be able to see in Asia. In Asia, we have it in Mumbai, Hong Kong, Seoul, Singapore, Sydney, and Tokyo. So in Mumbai, in India, it's in Mumbai. And now recently, in the last month, AWS announced that they are going to create one more region that is in Hyderabad, right? So we will be able to soon see a Hyderabad as well in this list of regions. Similarly, you have it in Europe, you have it in Middle East, South America, and then in Canada. So all these other different regions. So overall, I think for now there are more than, when this slide was recorded, it was 19. Today, I think there are a little more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. Yeah. So I think this Africa is the one that is newly added. So there are around 19 public regions and 3 of them which are private. Private anyway, we'll not be able to see it here. So I think when this slide was recorded, there was 16. Currently, there are 19. There are a couple of them which have been recently added. I think the one Africa was not available earlier. The Bahrain was not in Middle East, right? And the one in Milan, which is nearest to the Paris, right? So in Paris itself, we have 2 of them. So these are the couple of new regions that have recently come up. Apart from that, as I just said, defense regions will not be able to see. So if you want to know which are those, I'll just type AWS. Just type AWS regions, and you should be able to get the very first slide. Yeah. So here you can see, right? So you have something in orange colors, right? So the one in orange color are all the regions, right? So this is the one. So you can see here, government cloud US West region, government cloud, right? So these are the ones which we cannot access. So 2 of them are in the US, which are the government based, which we cannot access. And one of them is in China. So if I go to maybe Asia Pacific, this is the one, mainland China. So this is the one which we cannot access. These 3 are the ones which we usually cannot access it. Now going back to our slide, just a minute. So this is something called as regions, what we just learned. Region is nothing but a geographic location. As I just said, in India, we have it in Mumbai. It's a geographic location. Now inside the geographic location, we have something called as availability zones. So the next part is about the availability zones that we have inside the regions. If you see this particular slide, wherein it shows the entire heat map of the world, you can see here we have these circles, and inside this circle we have the numbers, right? So these numbers basically represent the number of availability zones inside this region. So if you see in Mumbai, currently there are two. So I guess recently they got upgraded to three. So it should be three availability zones. Now, what is a availability zone? Availability zone is nothing but a data center. And the data center is the place where we can actually create our virtual machines, storage space, and other things. Now, why Amazon creates three data centers within the same region is if something happens to our primary data center, automatically all of them will shift to secondary. So today, if I want to store something on AWS in Mumbai region, let's say if I'm trying to store my PDF file, automatically what will happen? Three copies of the PDF file will be created in three different availability zones in the Mumbai region, right? And even if one of the availability zone goes down, I still have the another one available. So to show you, this is how the region looks like. Inside a region, I have three availability zones: availability zone A, availability zone B, availability zone C, and all of them are interconnected. If you see this particular orange line basically shows they're all interconnected between each other. Now if something happens to the availability zone A, automatically all the transactions will shift to B or C and we'll still be able to access our data. So whole idea is having a high availability, and that's the reason we call it is with a name of availability zone.
So like suppose like for example the PDF file, right? So basically in the region like 3 copies of the same file is getting created.
Yeah, in one region, three copies, correct.
Okay. How about like if the region completely goes down? Is there a chance, or
Yeah,
we
it
don't
does.
usually regions don't go down?
Usually
I
they
see like
don't go down. Yeah,
okay,
usually
got
they
it.
don't go down. But yeah, maybe let's say if a disaster comes across. Now Mumbai is on a seashore, right? Now let's say if
Right.
something happens tomorrow, entirely like a tsunami comes in and the entire Mumbai itself is wiped off for a while. Then yeah, there's a disaster that happens. That's why
Right.
we usually say if you have a kind of a website or anything that you want to host, which has to be global, then host it in two different regions. So even if the entire region goes down, you still have
We
it in
have
the
another
another
region.
region. Yeah.
Okay. So if that is the case, like so there could be like more than 3 copies of your PDF again.
Yeah, then in that case, it becomes double of it, six copies.
Okay. So basically like each region by default will have 3 availability zones.
Yes, minimum three are available, minimum three.
Okay.
So if you see in
Okay.
North Virginia, we have around six also, six availability zones. So if you store anything in North Virginia, you automatically create six copies in backend,
Got it. Okay.
right?
Okay.
But almost each and every region has got three availability zones. So if I go
Oh,
to
the number.
AWS Global
Okay.
Infra,
The number
yeah,
here is the number of availability zones. Okay.
availability zones, yeah. So if I go here on this particular uh, AWS regions, which keeps getting updated, you can see here US East, it says three availability zones. US
Okay.
West, it says four.
Okay.
Right?
It's
So
not a standard rule. It's like they just keep on adding. Okay.
yes, but minimum two or more than two are always available for high availability.
Okay. Obvious. Like one goes down, there
And
then there should be a different
other
availability
one,
zone. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that was about the availability zones and the regions, right? So you can see here, this is a naming convention we usually get with. And if you see the US East North Virginia, since it is in the part of east coast of the US, it is called as US East. And this is the first region that was announced. That's why they call it as US East 1. And since they have different availability zones like A, B, C, D, E, F, they call it as US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, and 1F. And similarly, when we talk about the Tokyo region, this is part of Asia Pacific. So that starts with AP, and it is on the world map. If you see, it is in the northeast. So if I go back to my world map, if you see in this world map, this is here on the north towards the east of the world map. That's why it is called as northeast. So northeast 1A, 1B, 1C, right? A, B, C is like 1A, 1B, 1C. Since this was the first region in northeast, it's called as AP Northeast 1, and availability zone is like A, B, and C, right? Northeast 1A, 1B. That is about the global infra. Now, if I go back to my AWS account where we were just logged in some time back, so here now you can see you can select a default region for yourself. So I usually select Mumbai because since we are in India, Mumbai will be the nearest and it will be easier for us to connect to this region on the internet. Right? If I go to Virginia, it's okay to use it, but there might be a little bit of higher latency because all our request has to process from India to US and it may take a little while in the latency. Of course, if you have a good internet speed, that should not matter, but still the latency issues might be there when you are actually having it a little farther region. Right? You may also want to use Singapore, which is again a nearest region for us. Mumbai, Singapore, any of these part of Asia Pacific should be good enough for us to use for now. So the things would be much more faster to load and we should be able to play around faster with AWS console. So that was about the global infra and about setting up a AWS account and understanding how do we create one. So any questions, queries, doubts until here on the part of this today's session?
No doubts from my end.
Okay. How about others? Any queries or doubts before we wrap up for the day?
No questions.
Okay, great. So with that said, we'll wrap up for the day and we'll continue to explore the part of our next session tomorrow. And I expect that you guys can go ahead and actually create a AWS account. And in case if you face any trouble at any point of time, please let me know while we connect up. And also you can connect to me on my email ID. So let me put it through here. Please make a note of my email ID. It's viral50000@gmail.com. So at any point of time you think you face any issues or anything as such, please drop me an email. I'll be happy to assist you for any of the queries that we are going through our part of a course as well. Okay then. So with that said, we'll wrap up. Thanks all. Have a great day.
Thanks, Pawan.
Yeah. Thanks.